Forget about the halls of Congress for a minute. Today, we're stepping into one of America's oldest spots for real debate, the Barbershop. We're going to listen in on a 50-year checkup on American governance, and it's powered by the kind of honest talk you only get when the clippers are buzzing.
And the barber himself, he really sets the tone. See, this isn't just a place to get a haircut. It's a space where different generations come to hash out where the country's been and where it's headed. So yeah, grab a seat and listen in.
All right, let's get right to the heart of it. We're looking at a huge chunk of time, right? From the 1970s all the way to today. And the big question bouncing around the shop is simple, but it's massive. What's fundamentally changed about the way America is governed?
So, you've got Uncle Ray. He's kind of like the group's historian, and he kicks things off with this one big idea that pretty much frames the whole conversation. It's not just about policies, it's about the vibe of government, its rhythm, its reliability. Let's break that down.
The first big idea they dig into is this whole fast but unstable thing. Uncle Ray's argument is that we've basically traded a slow, steady ship for a speedboat in a hurricane. Yeah, policy can change in an instant, but you have no idea if you're headed for shore or flying right off a cliff.
So what Ray's really saying is this. Back in the day, the system took its sweet time, but you pretty much knew the rules of the game. But now, man, everything moves at the speed of social media, and it just creates this constant feeling of whiplash, of instability.
But then you've got Young Buck representing the next generation, and he comes in with a totally different take. He doesn't see all this speed as instability. He sees it as the system finally responding. He's arguing that tech, especially social media, gave everyday people a voice and forced the system to react faster, because so many more people are demanding to be heard.
And man, this right here, this is where you really see that generational tension just spark. Uncle Ray fires right back with this zinger. What he's saying is, look, just because you have a microphone doesn't mean you have something worth saying. It's that classic debate. Is all this new information making us smarter, or is it all just noise?
Okay, so from there, the conversation takes a turn. It moves away from these big, abstract ideas about government and gets down to something everybody in that room can feel in their bones, their wallet. How have the policies of the last 50 years actually hit us where we live?
And this is the thing that gets everybody in the shop nodding along. This isn't just about inflation numbers you see on the news. This is about the basic promise of work, and that growing feeling that the promise has been broken. It's that gap between what you earn and what it costs to just live, and it's getting wider and wider. And that's an issue that cuts across every single political divide.
And then Uncle Ray just lands the point with this, wow, it's so powerful. That's not some economic report, right? That's real life. It just perfectly captures the stress and the struggle that, for so many people, defines the economy today. It turns a complicated issue into a total gut punch of a story.
Right when things are getting super heavy, you hear from the shop's resident skeptic, and he drops this little bit of cynical humor. And sure, it gets a laugh, but it also taps into this really deep public frustration. This feeling that so much of what we see in politics is just for show, like professional wrestling, while the real problems never get solved.
So the conversation takes another really important turn right about here. It's not all negative. The peacemaker in the group kind of steps in and forces everyone to admit that, hey, the last 50 years have brought some real progress. But that progress has often come with a hidden and sometimes pretty heavy price tag. And when you lay it all out, it's pretty stark. On one side, you've got these huge gains, right? Expanded healthcare, mind-blowing technology, more diverse voices in power. But then you look at the other side of the ledger and you see the costs. Way more surveillance, this toxic political division, and this deep feeling a lot of folks have of just being completely left behind.
And that brings us to the final and maybe the most important question on the floor. After looking at the system, the economy, all the progress and its costs, the barber throws this out there. Who's really changed more over the last 50 years? The government or us, the people?
And Uncle Ray, man, he just nails the weird paradox of being a citizen today. We have more information than ever before, we're connected to the entire world, but that also makes us really impatient for change. And honestly, it makes us exhausted by all the constant drama. We're somehow hopeful and totally burnt out, all at once. And the younger guys in the shop, they really run with that idea. They point out that this new kind of citizen, this tired but hopeful person, is also way more demanding. People today just expect more from their leaders, and they have way more tools to call them out when they mess up. The big takeaway here, as the Peacemaker says, is that democracy ain't a spectator sport. You can't just sit on the sidelines anymore.
Okay, so where does all this talk land? What's the solution? Well, the crew kind of lands on this three-step plan for how to move forward. First, maintenance. That's the basic stuff. Show up, vote, pay attention. Second, innovation. You can't fix today's problems with yesterday's tools. And finally, conversation. And this might be the simplest, but also the hardest part. We have to actually talk to each other, not just yell at each other.
And as things start to wrap up, the barber chimes in with this simple but really grounding thought. After all the back and forth, the instability, the economic pain, the political theater, the one constant through all 50 years has been the resilience of the American people. And that's a pretty powerful thought to end on.
And that's where they leave it, and where we leave you, with one last really big question to chew on. We've talked about how both the government and the people have changed. So, to fix the problems we have today, where does the real change need to happen next? With the system or with us?
All right now, welcome back to the shop. Grab a seat, grab a story, grab some sense if you can find any. Today, we're talking 50 years of American governance. Yeah, I know, big topic. But that's why we got the whole crew here.
50 years. I done lived through all of it and a little extra.
And I'm here to fact-check you, Uncle. Respectfully.
Ain't no facts without context, young blood, and the context is they've been lying to us since '76.
Lord, here we go already.
All right, Ray, you the historian in the room. Start us off. What's the biggest shift you've seen in governance since the '70s?
The biggest shift? Easy. Government used to be slow but predictable. Now it's fast but unstable. Back then, you knew what the fight was about. Civil rights, jobs, Cold War. Now, everything's a fight. Even the stuff we agree on.
But, Uncle, that's because people got louder. Social media changed the whole game. Folks got platforms now.
Platforms without wisdom is just noise, nephew.
Wisdom? Man, the government been running the same playbook since Reagan. Distract, divide, deregulate.
You say Reagan like he personally stole your lunch money.
He did, spiritually.
See, this is why I don't let you near the razor blades. Let's talk money. 'Cause 50 years of governance is really 50 years of folks trying to figure out why groceries cost more than rent.
Facts. Inflation been punching everybody in the throat.
Inflation ain't new. What's new is wages not keeping up. Back in the day, one job could feed a family. Now, folks got 3 jobs and still praying over the light bill.
And every administration, red, blue, purple, they all promise the same thing. We gon' fix it.
Because they all on the same team. You think Democrats and Republicans enemies? Please. That's WWE for C-SPAN.
Bro, you can't just say the whole government is wrestling.
Have you seen the debates?
He got a point.
Look, if we being real, some things did change. Healthcare expanded, technology exploded, representation improved. We ain't where we need to be, but we ain't where we were.
True, but every step forward came with a price. More surveillance, more polarization, more folks feeling left behind.
But also more opportunity. More voices at the table. More ways to hold leaders accountable.
Unless the leaders unplugged the table.
What does that even mean?
It means the Wi-Fi been slow all week and I blame Congress.
All right, let's get to the heart of it. After 50 years, who changed more? The government or the people?
The people. We more informed, more connected, more impatient, more hopeful, more tired, all at the same time.
And we expect more. We demand more. We're not scared to call out nonsense.
But we also forget we're part of the system too. Democracy ain't a spectator sport.
Unless the refs rigged the game.
Brother, please.
What now? We remember that governance ain't magic. It's maintenance. You gotta show up, vote, organize, pay attention, and you gotta care about folks who don't look like you.
And innovate. Build new systems. We can't fix 2076 problems with 1976 tools.
And we gotta talk to each other, not just yell across timelines.
And we gotta stop letting billionaires name stadiums.
That one I actually agree with. 50 years of governance. 50 years of trying, failing, learning, rebuilding. And through it all, the people kept going.
We always do.
We always will.
As long as we keep choosing each other.
And stop eating government cheese.
All right, cut his mic. This been The Shop. Same time next week. Bring your opinions and your edges. We'll shape both.